My number 10. Being a big history buff as myself, not an expert, but a buff, a lover of history, I have always wanted to go across the Atlantic and go see England. Um, it is obviously, I think everybody knows, spoiler alert, America and England has a long, rich history together, for better or for worse. And there's some really cool sites to see. Love to go see London, Big Ben, and all this stuff. There's a lot of important British influence on American culture too. You think back to the Beatles. Um, I think the Stones are from there. I think a lot of music, right? The British invasion, um, a lot of that, coming over. But there's a lot of cool old architecture. England has obviously been a country that is lasted a lot longer, has been around a lot longer than the United States. So there's rich history in there. I would love to go and see that stuff. Very envious of people who have. You're just basically, I'm going to name specific places, but basically Europe is a big thing for me. Um, my number nine, my number nine, it is to go see Hawaii. I want to go travel to Hawaii. Uh, I grew up on Elvis Blue Hawaii movie. I The idea of Hawaii is just this beautiful island, and I think, at least it's what I'm being told, is that it's not really great between the natives and the native Hawaiians and the continental United States people, Americans. There's a little bit of an issue there, but um, it's beautiful. I'm a big water guy. Can't stress that enough. I love the idea of the islands. Um, I've always wanted to go there. That was actually always my mom's like dream vacation, is to go to Hawaii, and I wish I could afford to take her. I really do. I really wish I could afford to take her to experience that. Um, but it's very expensive. It's very expensive. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm trying my best. I really am. Um, but Hawaii is my number nine. Um, number eight. Number eight. I know it's kind of hard to see, but I want to go see Mount Rushmore. All right. I'm a big, again, U.S. history kind of guy. We will do a U.S. president's list for the 4th of July, which I'm very, very excited for. I want to go see Mount Rushmore. One of the things that I'm incredibly jealous that my dad did, he did a lot of traveling. He did a lot of vacations. Him and his family used to leave from here in Western New York and drive across the country and see some of the coolest, some of the best sites. They actually just uncovered and converted, thank you to Rich Moranto, who owns this studio, runs Moranto Media. He converted all my dad's old childhood videos. And there's a clip of them seeing Mount Rushmore with their old, camera that has no audio recording capabilities, going to see Mount Rushmore, just to lay my eyes on it. All right. Yes, I can see this stuff over a phone, but it's just not the same. And as somebody who's as passionate about U.S. presidential history as I am, I feel like I have to. Like, I'm almost obligated to go see it. And I hope I do get the chance someday. I know there's been a lot of people who say, it's really not that great, but it just doesn't mean as much to them as it does to me. So I hope I get to see it. Number 7, another one of those places that my dad got to see was Yellowstone and Old Faithful. I'm pretty sure that's the connection there. That's the one. There's video of Old Faithful kind of just blowing. The guys are just gushing water from 1977 when my dad was a kid. I'm a big parks guy, and I love nature parks. Okay, I love really nice nature parks. Really, they have a lot of abundance of animals, abundance of various scenery, and that seems to be the holy grail of national parks. So that's one that I would very much like to experience someday. It's probably the last of my, like, I probably have like two that are really feasible, and it's Rushmore in this one. Uh, the other ones are going to get a little wild, but they are still my dream vacations nonetheless. Number six. Number six. I want to go to Ireland. I want to go to Ireland. I knew one of my guys I coached with at Niagara Falls, known him for a long time, coached wrestling with in Niagara Falls. He went, I believe it was his honeymoon or a vacation with his wife to Ireland, and he explored some of the various castles, Blarney Castle, going all these different villages and towns and whatnot. And he had shot some incredible footage. I am like, Italian is what my biggest nationality, ethnicity, obviously American, but as far as like where my family is from, Irish is the second most. It's Italian, Irish, and then a couple others. I'm basically a mutt, but Ireland is one of those ones. My dad's family came here from Ireland. In fact, he changed his last name. So if he didn't change his last name, my name would be Matt Johnstone, or it's Johnston or John Stone. Now that I'm on camera and talking about it, it escapes me. But he I think he was a deserter, and he came over here in America and changed his last name. So that's a fun little Matt fact for you. But Ireland, I've someplace I've always wanted to go see. Seems like a really cool place. A lot of beautiful natural scenery, and whatnot. I love Irish stuff, you know. Number 5. I think I'm doing this right. All right, forgive me. I'm very self-conscious because a little sneak peek. Last week when I was recording the Ways to List, very late at night, I completely skipped over talking about my number 4. So if you go back and watch it, the number 4, there's like a weird cut in the video. It's because I completely went from 5 to 3 without knowing, and it took me editing it in a whole nother week to come back and record the number 4 bit. So I apologize. I want to make sure this is right, so there's no delays in recording and editing, getting videos out. My number 5 is Italy. That is obviously my main one. Grew up on Americanized Italian food, but obviously inspired by actual Italian food, right? I know a lot of people who've been there. My cousins, aunt, uncle, they're Nona, we call her, and she off the boat Italian. She grew up in Italy during the war, the Great War, and it was really cool. I wrote a cultural anthropology paper on her experience in Italy during that time, and it was I got 100 on it. It was great. I wish I still had that paper. I might still have it somewhere. But anyways, I've grown up seeing how just beautiful Italy is. The old architecture. I mean, there's so many different things to see from a historical perspective. The blue water. I love Italy. It's something that I'm very proud of. I'm not one of those people who just like, oh yeah, I'm Italian. That's not my whole culture or whatever, but I'm very proud of my being from Italy. So something I definitely want to see. I was very jealous. My wife and her sister, this is before we got married, but I think it was around New Year's time, she went over to Italy, spent about a week going over there, hopping from various town to town, city to city, staying over there. So jealous. She also, I remember this very vividly for some reason. She sent me a picture. One of the hostels that she stayed at, there was a toilet in the middle of a shower, and that was an experience. That was something I didn't know that I needed in life. So there's that, I guess. So that's cool. Number 4. This one, of just a visual beauty, is Switzerland, and there's a couple places. Like Montreux is one that always stands out to me. I love the Swiss Alps. I love seeing video of them. I love seeing pictures. It is absolutely stunning. I've seen a lot of really cool clips around the Swiss Alps, these little tucked away villages, towns, cities at night. And it looks so cool. You get this glow, right? These all the lights from this city, and then there's the Swiss Alps in the background. Something I absolutely want to see and experience. Montreux, I think, is right by the water too, if I'm not mistaken. But like that's just right up my alley. I stayed. I think I told the story about the Adirondacks with my friends Anthony and Chris, and that was really cool. And I can't imagine that, around the Alps, which are so infamous, and if I've known about for God knows how long. Number three. I want to go to Japan. All right, Japan, which is actually it's kind of fun. It's going to lead into our Fun List Friday recording. But Japan, to me, is like the hub of my childhood and pop culture. Okay, especially Tokyo. But there's a lot of neat stuff to go and see in Japan. Video games, right? Video games. Nintendo and Sony, Sega, they all started in Japan. Pokemon, hint, hint, wink, wink. I think I did that wrong. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Is originated in Japan. A lot of stuff that I love originated in Japan, and they have such a really cool, structure, history, and ancient history. That I really enjoy learning about and seeing. Japan is one that I seen there was I'm a big Resident Evil fan, video game wise, and they have a cafe there, somewhere over there. They have a cafe dedicated to Resident Evil with various props and whatnot. I'm like, that is so cool. So Japan is on a must list, and it's very high. That's why it's my number 3. Just being the hub of pop culture, I want to go and see and experience it. Number two, I don't believe that I have any national connection to it, but I have liked reading about French culture. So I want to go see France. I want to go see, especially Paris. I did mention, my books list, how Napoleon is my favorite, if not one of my favorite historical figures. He is out there in a place called Les Invalides. I probably pronounced that very, very wrong, but you get the idea. His tomb is there. His sarcophagus is right there in a rotunda in France. There's so many beautiful places there. Versailles, the giant arch, the Eiffel Tower, and that's just to name a few. Would love to go and see France. There's a lot of rich history in France. A lot of major historical events happen in France. I would love to go and experience that firsthand for myself. It appears to be a very, very beautiful place from what I've seen. I've known a few people who have gone there. One of my wrestling teammates' grandmothers was from there. And she goes back relatively often, and she talks wonderfully about it. So France is my number 2. And my number 1, this is just a generalized one. There's no specific area, but I wanted to take a cross-country road trip like my dad used to have, right? Driving him and his 3 siblings with my grandmother and grandfather, driving across the country from New York to California. This idea has more so been in my head. In 11th grade, I had a U.S. history teacher by the name of Mr. Marasco. He has unfortunately since passed away, but he was a wonderful teacher. I loved having him for history. But he talked about his time back in the 60s when he was doing the hippie thing. And him and his friend took 6 months, got in a van, and traveled to every state, every country. I think that they mapped out, every state. They looking for parks, right? They tried to visit all the national parks. As somebody who appreciates the diversity in America and how much, how different every state and how different various cities and towns within each state can be and look and feel. That's something I would want to go do. I will never, ever, ever. Well, maybe I can. I gotta start speaking optimistically, right? That's the point of this list. I would love to take 6 months or whatever it is and do this, right? Take my family, take my camera, be able to afford all the bills that I will need to have paid, and afford to go and travel and stay at various places and go see the country. It financially, it is a very difficult objective. It was obviously much easier to do many years ago, but that is my dream vacation, is to go cross country, right? Go see every state, try some food, go sightsee, take my camera, take the family, take pictures. I would love that. I absolutely would. But there it is, everybody. That is my top 10 dream vacations list.